Have you ever wondered, aren't all chiropractors the same? It's a great question, and I get asked that all the time. Hi, I'm Dr. Dan Lyons of Precision Chiropractic here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And for the last 28 years, I've been not only practicing, but teaching chiropractic. And I can tell you 100%, no, not all chiropractors are the same. In fact, no two chiropractors are the same. Just the nature of our individuality, our different body shapes, our different activities, our different mindsets. So if you have two chiropractors that are trained the same, yes, it's going to be very, very similar, but sometimes there's just that little difference that may work for you. But in the big picture, the real answer to this question is that there is a vast difference between chiropractors and their styles of practice across the profession. There are some that only adjust using instruments, whether they're handheld or larger apparatus that use a stylus and a little pin that comes down and contacts you. Some use handheld ones. Most chiropractors use their hands, but even there's probably 100 some well-defined different techniques or systems. And your goal, your mission as a patient is to find what works best for you. Some patients don't do well with certain types of adjustments. It's the irritability of their nervous system, their natural genetic makeup. Some patients love the cracking sound that you hear all over TikTok and social media, and some patients can't stand that. You have patients that they hear that and they just go into fight or flight mode. And some people just love it. I think that the people doing those cracking videos on social media are doing the profession and you, the patient, a great disservice because it skews the perception of what chiropractic is. On one hand, it scares a bunch of people away from ever seeking chiropractic care, and the other people, it attracts them to something that isn't. Whether or not your spine makes a noise when you're adjusted has no bearing on whether or not it helps you. So you can just take a bunch of those bubble wrap and just squeeze it in your hand when you go to the chiropractor. It has about the same effect as the pop. What is important is how they determine where, when, how, and when not to make an adjustment on you. And many chiropractors, most chiropractors, all chiropractors, use their fingers and palpate and feel. And that's a useful tool. It is not the most accurate tool. There are many tools we use. Personally, I use thermography, so I'm measuring the temperature, comparing the right side to the left side. We are roughly symmetrical, so the temperature should be roughly the same on both sides. If it's not, that is a great indicator that you have a problem. Not necessarily a pain-related problem, but a problem with your autonomic nervous system. That's what runs all your organs and glands and keeps you alive, including your skin temperature. So a problem in your thermography indicates a problem with your autonomic nervous system. And lots of disciplines, including oncology, are starting to use thermography. Taking x-rays, this is a big one. If you are going to be working with the structure of someone's spine, you should probably know not only its dimensions, because we're not all built the same. Most people have 7 vertebrae in their neck, 12 in their mid-back, and 5 in their low back, but there are lots of variations. Lots of people have 7, 12, and 6, or 7, 13, and 4, or 7, 6, and 11. So we need to know what we're working with. Also, you can have damage to your spine, you can have all kinds of changes, fractures. We need to know that before we're working with your spine. And that's why I always recommend taking x-rays of a patient as long as they can stand still and you can get that picture. It's important to have it. It gives you so much information. But find a chiropractor. If a chiropractor you don't get the results you want, don't say chiropractic's not for you. That chiropractor may not be for you, or you may just be impatient. And this is running a little long, but I want to tell this one story. Years ago, I had a patient named Joe. And he came in, he'd seen another chiropractor years before, got great results. I was closer, and I was new in practice. I was in practice a couple of years. And so I started seeing him, and he got about 40–50% of the results he was looking for, and we just seemed to hit a wall. So he said, what are you going to do? I rolled up his x-rays, I rolled up his travel card, handed it to him, said, go back and see Doc. And so it was about a month later, and I hear someone come in. I was in on a Saturday just by myself doing some cleaning, and I hear the bell go off, and I go up front, and there's Joe. And he says, I said, Joe, how you doing? He says, I'm doing fine. I just want to get back on the schedule for regular care so this doesn't come back. And I said, great. So Monday I call up the chiropractor that he'd went to, and I said, hey, this is Dan Lyons. I want to know, what did I do wrong? And he says, well, I looked at your x-rays, and those looked fine. I looked at your travel card. It looked fine, and I just did what you did 6 more times, and he was better. And the doc said, so, maybe, because he'd been in practice, I've been in practice, like I said, just 1 or 2 years, and he'd been in practice 30-some years. He goes, now, maybe I had a little better adjustment. And he says, maybe I had a little different line of correction. That's the angle at which he thrust on the bone, because I'm about a foot taller than him. He said, maybe that's the case, but in reality, I think he just needed 6 more visits and you got impatient. And we forget that it's easy to break something. Think of the statue of David. It took thousands of man-hours for Michelangelo and his helpers to create that statue. But it would only take a couple of idiots a second to push it over and break it into thousands of pieces. And once it's broken into those thousands of pieces, it's going to take a lot more time to put it back together than it took to make it. And it's never going to be the same. So all the great points to consider. I hope you like this, and I hope you like the future videos. Thanks for watching.